It is official. The Department of Justice just flipped the switch on a brand new enforcement mechanism, and it's aimed specifically at the Second Amendment. And this isn't some proposal, it is live and operational right now.
So what is this exactly? Well, a whole new section just went live on the DOJ's website. We're talking about a dedicated unit tucked right inside the well-established Civil Rights Division, and it has one very, very specific job.
All right, so what's the mission? What's this all about? In a nutshell, stopping infringement. But what does that actually mean in the real world?
Well, this is it, the new Second Amendment section. And according to the DOJ's own words, its job is to secure the natural firearm rights of law-abiding American citizens. The whole point is making sure that right isn't stepped on.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, the legal groundwork they're using. You might think it's all about the Second Amendment, right? But it's not. They're also pulling from the Fourth Amendment, protection against unreasonable searches, and the 14th guarantee of equal protection. It's like a three-legged stool, constitutionally speaking.
So who is the DOJ actually targeting with this? This is a really key point. They're not looking at individual gun owners. Nope. This section is aimed squarely at law enforcement agencies, specifically agencies that show a pattern or practice of violating citizens' rights.
And what does it take to get the DOJ to actually step in? What's the trigger? It's any kind of consistent pattern, anything that blocks or suppresses the firearm rights of people who are otherwise following the law.
Now, I want to be super clear here. This is not just some advisory panel that writes reports. No way. This new section has been given real teeth, real enforcement power. So what exactly can they do?
First up, affirmative litigation. What does that mean? It means the Department of Justice itself can be the one to start lawsuits. They don't have to wait for someone else to sue. They can go on the offense.
And that, of course, leads to federal court action. We're talking about bringing the full power and, let's be honest, the deep pockets of the U.S. government into the courtroom on these cases.
So you put those two together, and what do you get? Real enforcement. The goal here isn't just to make a statement, it's to get actual, measurable results.
But wait, there's more. It's not just about filing their own lawsuits. This section has a whole toolbox for getting involved in cases across the country. They can file statements of interest, basically telling a court where the federal government stands. They can coordinate amicus briefs, friend of the court arguments, and they can even try to jump right into an existing case. Okay, all of that legal stuff is important, for sure. But this next part, this is probably the most game-changing piece for you, for the average citizen. It's how you can now report potential violations. This is huge. For the very first time, there's an official, direct line for you to report what you believe are Second Amendment infringements straight to the Department of Justice, using an online portal. So if you go to the DOJ's Civil Rights Division website, here's what you need to look for. You're looking for one of two links. They both go to the same place, either report a civil rights violation or just report a violation.
So what happens after you click that link? It's a pretty straightforward process. Step 1, a citizen, you, files a report online. Step 2, the Civil Rights Division takes a look at it. Step 3, they start connecting the dots, looking for those patterns we talked about. And if they find one, that leads to Step 4. The DOJ can decide to launch a full-blown investigation. Okay. Let's take a step back for a second and look at the big picture here. Because this is way more than just a new form on a website. This is a pretty fundamental shift. What's really happening is that firearm rights are being elevated to the level of an active, federally enforced civil right. This means potential infringements aren't just seen as a policy disagreement. They're being treated as potential civil rights violations that could trigger a federal response. Think about it. This puts in place a whole new layer of federal oversight and accountability. Suddenly, local and state actions could find themselves under the microscope of the U.S. Department of Justice. And if you really want to get this significance, just look at where they put this new section. It's right inside the Civil Rights Division. That means it's now standing shoulder to shoulder with the sections that protect voting rights, fight housing discrimination, and protect the rights of people with disabilities. So if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. The Department of Justice has officially opened a direct line for citizens to report potential Second Amendment violations, period. So, there you have it. A powerful new federal tool has been created, and a direct line to the public is now open. The entire framework is officially in place, which of course leads to the one big question: what happens now? What will the real-world impact be? That's the story we'll all be watching unfold.